Welcome to the Rapport Advantage podcast, transforming the way leaders communicate. Here's your host, human behavior expert and professional speaker, Alex Swire-Clark.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, Alex.
No matter when you're listening, if it's like maybe 2025 in June, it's still a Happy New Year if you make it a Happy New Year.
It is a Happy New Year.
Because the only thing we can control is our attitude and our actions. Welcome to the Rapport Advantage podcast. We are talking about high C's today, so I'm sorry. I'll tone it back a little bit. Not. Welcome to the show. You guys know, if you're KG veteran listeners out there, you know that we're all about helping you transform the way you communicate on this show. We want to help you break down the walls of miscommunication, increase your emotional intelligence, and build better relationships in the workplace and beyond.
What?
Dude, you've listened to the show, what, like 46 episodes now?
What?
Stop it. No, there's no drama today. Liz and I are on the same page. Get out of here. I mean, just leave.
No.
Fine, stay here. Whatever. I don't care. All right. So if you haven't listened to our show before, stop. Put the brakes on. Go back and listen to episodes 2 through 6. They will give you that DISC foundational knowledge, so you'll understand our methodology just a little bit better. This show is all about you. Give us your input and feedback. Find us on Facebook at The Rapport Advantage, on Twitter at Rapport Podcast, or visit the website at rapportadvantage.com. I am Alex Swire-Clark. I am a CEO by day, speaker and emotional intelligence expert by night as I leap the roofs of Gotham City. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's the other role I have. I'm confused about myself. Liz, who are you?
I'm Liz Parker. I'm a behavioral analyst doing job benchmarking, strategic growth consulting, and Vistage chair.
Today, we are concluding our 4-part series on hindering factors in the personality styles when we're trying to sell to them. What should you not do when you get in front of a room full of a particular personality style or even one personality style in a one-on-one situation? And today, again, we are talking about our high C's. So what are those hindering factors when we're trying to sell to a high C? Number 1 on that list is getting personal about family if you don't know him or her. For C's, they are transactional. If you're trying to sell to them, this is a business transaction, not a let's get to know you and be buddy-buddy session. So make sure you are having that attitude going in that they may or may not ever see you again, want to speak to you again, or develop a relationship with you outside of this one transaction. And that's okay. Don't ask them about their family necessarily unless they bring it up. Or if they ask you about yours, then the gate's pretty much open for you to ask them about theirs. So in that rapport building phase, don't be the first person to ask about family and things like that, because they might not want to share that information with you.
That's exactly right. And I'm going to build on that from that not getting personal, because the second one is don't touch or pat them on the back, on the arm, or anywhere else, because they are not touchy-feely people. They want their space. A lot of times they'll need to have that personal space all the way around them. And we high eyes, well, we're going to come in and we're going to want to touch you and tell you how much we like you and give you a big old shoulder rub, do something. And it is stay away. Just make sure that you give them their personal space and stay in that professional manner.
Don't put your hand on them. Bad stuff going to happen to you. Liz is guilty of that. I'm guilty of that. When I'm doing my talks, it's very, very funny, especially to my C's in the room, that if I've got their assessments already, and I'll kneel down beside them and put my hand on their shoulder, and they'll kind of look over their shoulder like, dude, what are you doing? Get away from me. Don't touch me. So, but I do that intentionally to then go back and model that later on in the talk and say, here's what I did, and here's what I did intentionally, so that you can avoid that mistake when you're interacting with other folks like that. So just to kind of model some interesting behaviors. We have fun with that.
I'm telling you what, and I've got one other one that comes to mind, because you can eventually do that, but you do have to ask permission. What I have learned through the years is, after spending 2 days in a strategic planning workshop, at the end of it, I can go to a high C and say, hey, can I give you a hug goodbye?
Maybe.
Exactly. And that's exactly how they answer.
No.
And that's fine. I know is fine. Okay. I know is a high I. We like to high five people. That's okay. If people don't want to high five back, Sad, but okay, we can deal with it. Third on our list today of hindrances, loud emotional sales presentations. Now, wait a minute.
What?
Didn't we just talk about that on our last episode? And
We did.
yes, we did. And so C's and S's, neither one like those loud emotional presentations. So don't come in there with all the flair. And you can do some flair because it depends on your audience. If you have a room full of C's and S's, well, then you don't want to throw candy, animal balloons, or whatever if you're doing that as a part of your presentation. They're not going to be entertained by that. They want you to get down to the facts and get down to what are the benefits, what are the features of this product or service that you're selling, and you can do that in a more reserved way. So watch the gestures, watch personal space, watch tone of voice and inflection. You don't want to be monotone, but you also don't want to be so loud that they just think you're some kind of entertainer in there. They get put off by that.
That's exactly right. And it also leads us to another one that's very similar to the S's is being shallow with your answers. You need to be more detailed. You don't want to be flippant. And usually high I's and sometimes D's will come across as just being a real smart aleck. And you want to make sure that you're getting in there, you're getting into the depth of the detail. C's are all about give me the facts, give me the data. Just don't say, hey, trust me, it'll do good. Not an answer to use.
That's right. Because as we know, those C's are always asking that question, why? Why should I buy this product? Why should I buy it from you? And if you don't have answers already lined up as to why something should be purchased, why is it better? Why is it important for their organization? Why is this something we should change from the current product we already have with you to upgrade to the 2.0 version? You've got to have those questions answered. And if you just say, because it's better, it's just simply better, that's not good enough for a C. It doesn't work from a parental to child relationship. It's not going to work in a sales relationship. It just simply won't. And again, you're not trying to necessarily, in that particular example, to not give them information. But if you don't have that information as a salesperson, you're not doing your job in terms of prep. So that goes back to practice and preparation before you get into the room so that you can anticipate those questions, because C's are going to be full of them, and they're generally going to happen towards the end of the meeting because they're just going to sit back and listen to everything you have to say. They're taking it all in. You're thinking to yourself, hey, this is going really well. This is awesome. This is great. And then that last 5 minutes. So why should we buy from you? You're ducking, you're dodging questions. Oh. And then all of a sudden, you don't have any answers, and then you have just officially that situation horrible, and you are done with that salesperson. Next! And they bring somebody else in.
So was that actually the recap to not having enough facts to support your product's claims?
Could be. So number 5 was not having enough facts to support your product's claims, which I just basically went over with you. So
you did.
Any questions, class? Any questions? All right, super. Glad you didn't have any questions. Liz, any final thoughts on our C's? They're really simple to sell to, quite frankly, if you're prepared and you have the answers to their questions before you get in there and you don't act like a crazy, wild person. If you've got the facts to support your arguments, they're pretty simple to sell to.
And I think that's a really good approach to take, because high I's really do dread going to C's because of the fact that they don't get to be themselves, but they can. All they do is they pull out that factual side. And I think you're right. They do buy easier because you give them the facts. They're there. There's no persuading. You don't have to influence them. They make the decision.
As an I in sales, we have a lot of I's in here that are on sales, a lot of D's as well.
Yeah.
The concept of when I get in front of the room as a high I salesperson, that it's not about me. It needs to be about the product to a C.
Yes.
The C isn't worried about you, the person in the flashy, and you got slick back hair or that pretty, power dress suit thing that you got going. Nobody cares about that as a C. What does the product do? Why should we buy it? Why is this going to be an improvement for the processes we have in our organizations? And as an I, that's frustrating because I want to do my dog and pony show. I want to be the flashy guy, and I've got all my sales tips and my training. And you got to dial that way back and take the focus off of you and put the spotlight purely on the product or service that you're selling, because that was what's going to make the sale for a C. Not necessarily to an S or another I, but to a C. It's not about you. It's about what you're selling, and can you prove that what you're selling is going to work better, faster, stronger, more efficiently than what they currently have. And you do that with facts to support your claims. And if you don't have those facts, you're not getting anywhere. But if you got those facts, you can start to change that person's mind, and the sale becomes so much more easy to progress with down the line.
May I say thank you for that, because I am meeting with a CEO in the next couple of days. And that's a great reminder. I don't care how many years you and I have been doing this, that when we have these conversations, it's always a reminder. We're comfortable in our own style and we forget that we have to adapt. And that was a great recap for me to say, hey, really, it's not about me. They're not buying me. They're buying the program. So thank you. I appreciate that.
Anytime, Liz. We love helping each other out.
Yes.
That's going to do it for today's show. I'd like to thank Liz Parker for joining me today. Liz, as always, you're phenomenal. How can folks get in touch with you?
Alex, I love you to death. And they can reach me at liz@ltresults.com or ltresults.com on my website.
Perfect. If you're looking to get in touch with me, contact at alexswire-clark.com is the way you can get to me by email. You can join our Facebook group at the Rapport Advantage Podcast. We do live streams from time to time when I'm not involved with speaking engagements. About 2 months back, we did a High D episode. So that was great. I had a lot of positive feedback about that. We'll do our High I episode here coming up soon. I'd love to have any feedback from you on those things. Ask any questions you've got about emotional intelligence. We'll be happy to help you with that. On our next podcast, we'll dive into more emotional intelligence topics. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening to the Rapport Advantage podcast. We'd love to hear from you. Join the conversation on Facebook at the Rapport Advantage and follow us on Twitter at Rapport Podcast.